In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit the host file on your local machine. Now, the host file is basically a file used by your operating system that maps host names to IP addresses. And this is a very powerful file, and you'll understand why in a moment. In Windows 7, go to the Start menu, right-click on your favorite text editor, and select Run as Administrator. Then go to File, Open, and we'll navigate to the C drive, Windows, System 32, Drivers, and etc. And in order to see the files, you need to select All Files. And there's our host file. So suppose we want to block a website, say Facebook.com. How you would do that is enter a loopback address, 127.0.0.1. And basically this loopback address is it's a non-routable IP address that refers to the local computer. Or in other words, it's any computer that you happen to be sitting in front of at the moment. Okay? And we'll enter Facebook.com. So basically what's happening is Facebook.com is going to just basically loop back to our local machine, and it will never reach the host. And I'm going to click File, Save. And when we do, we may receive an error from our antivirus. And there it is. Microsoft Security Essentials already picked that up. And I'll be talking more about this in just a moment. But basically, if you select Details, you can see that it says Possible Host File Hijack. And that's because Security Essentials wants to make sure that we don't have any malware pointing our websites to addresses that we don't want. So I'm just going to select Allow for now and click Apply. Okay, and we'll close that. So let's see if this block worked. Let's open Firefox and try to go to Facebook.com. And it should not resolve. And it didn't. So the host file is doing exactly as it should. Now, you can also add a hash symbol in front of that, and you'll notice that these comments that have hash symbols, basically this uncomments that and nullifies it. It doesn't do anything. It basically deactivates what we just put in there. So if I select File, Save, and then we go back and try to resolve it, it should pull the website up. And there it is. So there's Facebook. So as you can see, there's a lot of control that you have with your host file. As we saw a moment ago, Microsoft Security Essentials picked that up. And generally what you can do is make an exception for this file to where Security Essentials will not scrub this file. Just be aware that if you receive malware, they could come in, for example, and put their IP address followed by yourbank.com. So they could even replicate your website or their website and point it to their public IP address, and you would never know it. So just be aware that when you make exceptions in your security software, it's not going to be able to pick up anything that maybe should not be there like that. Okay? So let's go back to the Internet Security Software, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If we go to Settings, and where it says Excluded Files and Locations, you can either browse to the host file or enter the direct path, and simply click Add and save the changes. And again, just be aware that Security Essentials will no longer be able to scrub that file. But the advantage is that you get to block websites and gain a little more granular control over your network. If you don't add that exception in your software, such as Microsoft Security Essentials, what will happen is it will come back and automatically scrub that for you, and sometimes even remove the block that you just entered. And that so that can be sometimes a problem. Another thing that I wanted to point out is when we first started, we went to Start and select Run as Administrator. Anyone that you have that's using this computer, I recommend that you give them their own user account and keep your administrator password safe and secure. Anyone that has your administrator password can select right click and run as administrator, they simply have to enter your admin password, and they can also enter this file. So say for example you had your 127.0.0.1, your local host, resolving to facebook.com, and you thought that you had a block that was doing its job, and your teenager came in here and added a hash symbol in front of that and voided the block that you just put in, all because they knew your administrator password. So keep your password safe, and your host file can do a lot of work for you. Just be aware of some of the security precautions regarding making those exceptions, okay?